For some people, it is the morning after. For others, it is the second day into a whole new year, 2026. Again, we say Happy New Year to you, and we're delighted to be here. On Global Morning, I am Uyi Agmofwegwe, and the lady who happens to be the most excited about this new year all around the world, of course we have not checked that really, is also on the show this morning. Let's make welcome the one and only elegant, classy, gorgeous Jumai Manson.
Yay! Good morning, Mr. Uyagboma.
Good morning to you.
How you doing?
Well, I'm staying grateful. I'm approaching the new year with so much of gust and confidence.
Yeah, I like that. I like that. And good morning to each and every one of you out there. It's great to be here. It's the second day of the year and of January, and we're all excited. I think I'm more excited because today is Friday. I don't know.
Yeah.
What's the problem?
So it's a mix of many things.
It's a mix of many things. But at the same time, we're here. We're grateful. We're thankful. God is faithful.
Right.
And at the same time, we're here. Basically, it's an important thing. And many are not privileged to be here alive today, but we must show gratitude. I always say it from the beginning of to the last days of December to the beginning of the year, you should be grateful. It doesn't matter how old you are. It doesn't matter where you're coming from. It doesn't matter what your circumstance may be, but being alive, just be grateful.
Right.
God is great.
Of course. And let's also know that we live in a world where things can change at the snap of fingers.
True,
so like
true.
Jumai mentioned, the fact that you may not have had the sort of bank account balance where the numbers are breaking the computer doesn't mean that things cannot switch for you. I mean, in your favor and all of that.
Exactly.
Keep hope alive, continue to do your own part, be consistent about that, and you'll be shocked how things will turn out for your good as quickly as possible. We're going to take a quick break now. When we return, you realize that the show has just started. All right, for the new year, for those of us who really want to conquer whatever that means for you, depending on where you're heading with your goals for the year, you must realize that you've got to put in the work, but more fundamentally, you've got to think differently this year than you did during last year, because the circumstances are not essentially going to be the same. Policies will change. There's going to be a lot of dynamics that will redefine how we live and the outcomes we're also going to have. So changing that thinking will be very, very important. So you must get it right with the information that you do consume, because at the end of the day, information drives development, information drives growth. The volume, but more importantly, the value of the information you have determines the quality of your life and the kind of results you have. And by the way, Jumai, this morning I was reading about a particular gentleman who, while growing up in a very obscure neighborhood somewhere in England, didn't really pay much of attention to the things that the everyday people would pay attention to. He was more interested in things like, why do certain football clubs continue to lose while others win over a long stretch of time? Why is it that two clubs or two teams play a football match? One team is largely in possession of the ball, yet they lose at the end. He was interested in those dynamics, which are, for many people, too serious.
Yeah, exactly.
And stuff like that.
Are you kidding me?
But over time, those were the things that made him not just a billionaire, but he has been able to build two giant clubs that have been largely successful. Now, if you want to narrow that down to your own life, of course, you don't have to be a football enthusiast, you don't have to follow the numbers, but it shows that there's always a unique advantage we'll each have. Jumai's own competitive advantage may not be Uyi's advantage. So we must understand the peculiarity we're bringing into the new year, how that you don't have to be the president, you don't have to be the governor to get the right things done for yourself and then move ahead. So at the end of the year, you are singing a new song different from the one you sang in 2025.
And I like the fact that individuals want to, like, that's the problem they say most of our youths do not have. nobody wants to brainstorm. Nobody wants to see a uniqueness in something different from what everyone else has been doing. So that's an amazing achievement. Once you can think outside the box to achieve a particular result, that goes a long way. And not just achieving a particular result, the impact in which you make for yourself, your life, the transformation for your life and others around you.
Right. Well, let's talk about transformation and how that some sort of motivation can kick in inspiration and some sort of unusual insight for you. And here we'll present to you Ramsey Enoch Agbo with his inspirational to help wrap up your working week. Global Morning is your top morning show here on Global Television.
We bring you fresh news updates daily while delving into a variety of current affairs and topics.
And at the same time, keeping you well informed about important events, both national and international.
Global Morning serves as a valuable source of information, helping viewers like you start your day well informed.
Stay connected from Monday through Sunday to a wide range of latest news making rounds on Global Morning.
We're on the road to protest.
And the president meets all of our demands.
This is Global Morning.
Hello, it is a beautiful day. I'm excited to come your way again with Heart to Heart. Can we talk heart to heart a little bit? Let's get ourselves inspired. In case you don't know, every day come loaded for you. In every day, there is something for you. But what is the place of hope for our everyday life? Today, we want to look at hope a little bit. Some people are hopeless already, because of the things happening around them, because of their background. But then, a lot of people don't know that their background does not have the ability to put their back on the ground. But you put your back on the ground before your background even tell on you. You don't know you can break through those hurdles. You can. Let's look at hope. I want to build your hope a little bit today on the program. Let's see what Desmond Tutu have to say about hope. As a matter of fact, according to Desmond Tutu, he said hope is being able to see that there is light despite all of the darkness. You see light when people are seeing darkness. That's what makes it different. That is exactly what makes you unique. Because what others are seeing, you are seeing a different thing. Where others are seeing difficulty, where others are living hopelessly, you see hope all the way. That's what makes you stand out. That's what makes you break through. Let me just give us a little background about what hope is and how you can stay hopeful and the benefit and importance of hope. As a matter of fact, I'd like you to know that hope is the invisible thread, all right, that pulls us through the darkest times. Invisible thread. What did I say? Invisible thread. This thread is invisible, but you need to develop the eyes of the mind to be able to see this thread that is capable of pulling you through the darkest time. Some people don't know dark times are always there, but you have what it takes to see light, vision. Have you ever come to think about what happens when light appears in darkness? It will appear as if darkness has never been there. That is the presence of light. And that can only happen for a man, a woman who is hopeful. I would also like to let you know that it doesn't deny the presence of pain or challenges. They are always there. In as much as the earth remains, in as much as we are here, the tough times are always there. The challenges are always there. The pains are always there. But there is something that makes you unique and stand out. Living your life with the mentality and the mindset that this darkness, this pain, these challenges are not capable to stop you of meeting up with your dream. I'd like to let you know that these challenges, these pains, this darkness gives us reason to keep moving forward. That's what it means. That mentality that you can surmount the hopeless situations around you, in your environment, in your home, in your workplace, in your business places, that single mentality is capable of keeping you moving. You keep moving, you keep moving. I tell people all the time, there is something that is very important in life. That is the mentality that, yes, it's good to fly. To be a flyer, a high flyer, to be a high flyer is not negotiable. You want to fly, but if you can't fly, run. If you can't run, walk at least. If you can't walk at all, you are incapacitated with maybe situations, the dark times, the challenges. Instead of you not to be mobile at all, please crawl. What did I say? You have to fly. You are supposed to be known as a high flyer, full of hope. But then if you can't fly, that's not the end of it. Be able to do what? To run. If you can't run, walk. If you can't walk, crawl. But by all means, be mobile. What did I say? By all means, be hopefully mobile. Because there is hope for the living. And I'm so glad that I'm talking about hope today, because in times of despair, when everything else feels uncertain and broken, when hope provides a glimpse of something better on the horizon, it allows people to rise above their present and current circumstances, no matter how, no matter the situation, no matter the green, no matter what they see, because they believe that change is still possible. That is what hope is all about. But then you should also remember that I am talking about Desmond Tutu today because he's a man of hope. Desmond Tutu has a quote. What does the quote say? That quote that we just read before we got started reminds me personally that hope isn't about just ignoring difficulties. Ignoring difficulty is not just it all, but I believe that it is about believing that difficulties won't last forever. That is how a man of hope thinks, reasons that difficulties, what did I say, doesn't last forever. It is for a time. You know, let me say this, this might surprise some persons, but do you know that if you are always surrendering to difficult times, difficulties will always want to embrace you. That's what it means. But if you know that this difficulty is for just a moment, then you keep pushing, you keep pushing, you keep pushing, pulling out, putting forth for light, because that is darkness. With that hope, and that belief that difficult times, challenges, pains don't last forever gives you the hope that light will soon shine in the midst of that dark time. And I also want you to know that it is time that we all need to give light the chance. In whatever we do, we need to give light, what did I say? The chance. Because I think I need to say this. If I don't say it, then I don't think I'm doing anyone any good. Let me just inform us that it is light that guides us when all else fails. It is hope that keeps us moving even when we don't know what is going to happen next, but we believe that all things will work together for our good. And that's the reason it's very necessary for us to stay hopeful. And when nurtured, hope can inspire action. Did you hear what I said? When nurtured, that is to tell you that hope somehow, according to my belief, is a living thing that needs to be nurtured. And when it is well nurtured, something happens. Should I tell you what happens when hope is nurtured? Hope can inspire action. Because if you have the hope that yes, this thing is possible, you put apparatus together to work towards the possibility of that particular thing that we are talking about. So hope can inspire action, renew strength, and rekindle the human spirit. It also gives meaning to endurance and helps people stay anchored on everything around them. Especially when things around you is shifting, shaky, there are storms, there are dark times, people don't believe you anymore because of one situation or the other, and you stay hopeful because you are seeing something that no one else is seeing, and that keeps you going. That keeps you going. You keep building your hope. You keep emphasizing on the things that can make you stand out in everything that you do. All right, I believe someone's hope has been restored today. I believe someone who is about giving up, someone who feels there is no hope anymore because of a particular situation, is getting the hope revived again. Please revive your hope, nurture it, build it, allow it to grow, and it will keep you going. Rekindle that hope again. Maybe you were hopeful, but at some point in time something happened and the light of your hope dipped down and it's nowhere to be found right now. Go look for it. Get that hope back again. Stay hopeful and stay on track. My name is Ramsey Enoch. Thank you.
Global Morning is your top morning show here on Global Television.
We bring you fresh news updates daily while delving into a variety of current affairs and topics.
And at the same time, keeping you well informed about important events, both national and international.
Global Morning serves as a valuable source of information, helping viewers like you start your day well informed.
Stay connected from Monday through Sunday to a wide range of latest news making rounds on Global Morning.
We're on the road to protest.
And the president meets all of our demands.
This is Global Morning.
All right, you're welcome back. And if you're just tuning in, this is Global Morning on Global Television. Hope you were inspired by the inspiration by Ramsey Enoch Agbo. And about this time, it is the newspaper review segment. I will start with the first paper of the day, and it's the Vanguard newspaper. Now, above the nameplate, it says, First Bank successfully completes 500 billion naira capital raise. And then, of course, we have two writers there. It says, Tinubu's deep understanding of the Nigerian economy shows in recent growth. And that's from Otedola. And the next writer says, canvasses CBN to raise bank capital to 1 trillion naira. And then the third writer says, Cardoso best CBN governor ever. And then next, the Star Story reads, Bodoa explosion, 30 billion naira fund intact, 20 billion naira balance withheld. And that's from the Oyo government. And here it says, by the side of the nameplate, it says 2026, Atiku Obi, CAN, that's CAN, PDP, ACF, NBF charts way forward for Nigeria. And that's on page 5 to get abreast with that particular news round. And on page 14 and 15, it says how failures in payment pillars, infrastructure, lock out people with disabilities. Very sad read there. So go out and get yourself a copy and be well abreast with the issues on the Vanguard newspaper. Over to you now, Mr. E, with the next paper.
Let's look at The Guardian for you. We'll begin with the headlines immediately beneath the nameplate. Top right first with a picture of Governor of Plateau State, Caleb Mutfwang. It says Mutfwang's exit leaves PDP with 4 governors as Bala fingers Wike in party problem. I think that finger has been pointing at Wike for a long time.
A long time.
Every time something onto what happens in the PDP, Wike is accused of being the one who has done it. But again, when you look at the back and forth, the rivalry that has happened between the Wike camp and what some people now refer to as the Shea Makinde camp, you understand where all of this is going. But one thing we can't take our eyes off of is the fact that the PDP is getting depleted in terms of membership strength.
Very true.
By the day, much so that it is even the governors who are leaving, the latest of them being our Plateau State governor. You know, someone had already said this before, that people like the governor of Plateau State, Mr. Mutfwang, and then, of course, you talk about the governor of Taraba State would leave. I mean, talking about Kefas Abu, that was just a matter of time. Of course, that of Kefas is settled, and now you have Governor Mutfwang also leaving. We saw Peter Uba of Enugu State. We saw Governor Moeno of Akwa Ibom. So we've just seen all of that happen. Of course, Governor Doyodiri of Bayelsa as well.
Of course.
But all of this is geared towards 2027, right? There have been questions about, are these governors moving because they actually believe in the ideals of the All Progressives Congress? Are they moving because they now have confidence in President Bola Tinubu?
Administration.
Exactly. Or are they moving because they have,
motive?
Which is personal, which is selfish, which is self-serving, so they can, as they say, secure the bag in 2027. But all of this, we wait to see how it turns out.
We wait to see, and that is why the FCT minister, another person than Nyesom Wike, he has said, whether you defect to the APC. It doesn't give you the assurance of a re-election of your position.
Especially for someone like Governor Fubara of Rivers State.
Exactly. and you know, that tussle, we keep going back and forth with it, and we do not know. But let's just see how well this plays out. I want to believe that these governors who are defecting to the All Progressive Congress believe in the President Bola Ahmed Tinubu's administration and, of course, the cause of the betterment of Nigeria. I want to believe. But let's see. Let's just see how well it goes. So if they are not re-elected, will they still stay? If they are not re-elected, will they still be loyalists? If they are not re-elected, let's see how this plays out.
Right. Okay. Well, that's a wonderful way to hope and pray. We'll move on with the Guardian newspaper for you now. Oyo accounts for FG's 30 billion Naira Bodija explosion aid, size 20 billion withheld. You know, that has been the crux of the rift between former governor of Ekiti State, Ayodele Fayose, and the governor of Oyo State, Seyi Makinde, the last couple of weeks. Kayamo Abdullahi bicker over Obi's defection, ADC's chances. Do we have to bicker? Why don't we just wait for election and see who wins the day? All right, so and then we have the star headline here where you find details on pages 4 and 5. It says, with a kicker, 2026, a year to test policies, shape politics, measure performance. Of course it is. The picture there is quite interesting, more like, well, the president and those of his foot soldiers, right? Police suspend tinted glass enforcement after court order. Finally, you say, on page 7 is where you find those details with a picture of the Inspector General of Police, Kayode Egbetokun. 8 people die in Lagos-Ibadan Expressway auto crash. Quite a sad one, with details on page 8. We understand between the eve of New Year and New Year Day itself, it was quite a number of, hazards and, all of these misfortune that was experienced by some people, including road crashes, all right? Northeast to float regional airline commits 30 billion naira. Or 2 aircrafts. Is that the priority? The Northeast floating regional airline? Of what help would that be for the people of the region? Ultimately, we have quite a number of states in the Northeast, whether you're talking about Borno, Yobe, Adamawa, Gombe, Bauchi, and so on and so forth. But if we were to stack up the priorities of this region, should floating regional airline be the priority at this point?
I think we keep mixing up our priorities, but let's just see. I want to believe that there is something big behind it. But in fact, I just feel this is just a mix of priorities where there is a lot to do.
We should pursue other interests.
Pursue other important interests. These individuals, how many, I finished from Unimade, how many aircrafts will leave the show, as in travel from Lagos to Maiduguri? Back in the day, there were just 1 or 2 of them. So
but times have moved.
I know times have moved, but at the same time, how many people want to go to areas that are being terrorized by terrorists?
I mean, you went to school when there was no internet. I'm just kidding.
Okay, very funny, Mr. Uyi. Let's move on. Please, let's go to, really?
Well, there was internet when I went. All right, let's look at a few more headlines for you. National Assembly to release certified tax bills amidst Gazette's discrepancy claims. Well, the tax laws are in force already. This is the second day. Opposition brands 2025 year of hardship, urges change in 2027. That has a picture of what some Nigerians now refer to as the official face of the opposition, talking about former Vice President Atiku Abubakar. Rivers, Wike Fubara rift deepens as parties mobilize support for 2027. So again, Jumai, this is more like a fight for the political soul of River State.
Yes, it is. And it's unfortunate that we keep going back and forth. And we were happy in 2025 when there was a reconciliation and Wike came out, Fubara came out, everything was sealed. We were like, okay, this has dragged for far too long. Thank God now there is peace. And now we're going into this again. And we don't know how long this is going to take. And of course, you have loyalists, both parties and all of that. But let's just see how it is. Let's just see. But I don't see going away really soon.
Right.
That's just me. That's just
2027 is shaping all of this.
It is. It is.
Well, read up those details about Wike Fubara Reefs on page 28 of the Guardian newspaper today, as we flip over now to the Nigerian Tribune.
All right, now the Nigerian Tribune, above the nameplate of the Nigerian Tribune, it reads here, gunmen attack Ondo community, sets police station ablaze, adopt monarch in Kwara. And that's worrisome, but that is on page 29 of the Nigerian Tribune. And of course, on page 2, it says, New Year Day sermon, Akpabio withdraws all defamation suits. No comment. That's on page 2.
Well, can we not have peace for a second? I thought we all said we wanted peace. We wanted to shield our souls.
Are you kidding me?
I thought you would be raising your hands in gratitude now.
I don't understand.
Well, let's make progress.
That's the power of a woman.
Okay.
I didn't say anything, please. All right, now on page... Will you please stop, please, I beg you. And of course, on page 5, it says, Plateau governor resigns from PDP, picks APC membership card today. And that is on page 5 of the Nigerian Tribune. Now, the star story of the headline says, Badija explosion. 30 billion naira FG fund remains unspent, 20 billion naira balance withheld, and that's from the oil government. And we have two writers there. It says it has spent 24.6 billion naira of state fund on incident, wants full release of approved 50 billion naira intervention, and that's on page 3. Now, beside that, below all of that, it says, man to watch in 2026, Tinubu, Obi, Atiku, continue battle of wits. And that's on page 22. Now, below that, it says, police place enforcement of tinted glass permit on hold. Okay. And that's on page 3 of the Nigerian Tribune. And then on page 29, it says, terrorists kill 9 in Plateau community on New Year's Eve. These terrorists, they do not want to stand down, despite the airstrike that happened in Sokoto. This is like a dare that they will continue.
To say you cannot quench the fire.
You cannot quench it, but gosh, every life matters.
But we must, as a country, find a way to stand them down. So it doesn't look like we're being passive, we're being unrealistic and naive, expecting them to stand down voluntarily. That's not going to happen. It has to be some
but
sort of
try,
force.
Of course.
We keep hearing about, should we use kinetic, should we use non-kinetic, should we combine both and all of that. I mean, beyond semantics, the fact of the matter is, we must now evolve a method that works, so that when you come out and say terrorists have been defeated, it becomes a definitive term.
Yes, yeah,
in practical sense of that word. Or like, a few years ago when we were told they had been technically defeated, and today we know better.
Of course. But let's just see how well, like you said, they will not want to stand down. They want to prove a point, but at the same time, they will. They have no choice but to stand down. All right, now still on the Nigerian Tribune, and here it says, the side, it says, Owobodo, Kalu Mba hold strategic talks on Igbo position in Nigeria. And that's on page 2. Now, Controversial Tax Act. NASS, that's NAS, reviews processes of transmission of bills. And the writer says, clears air on Gazetted Tax Act. And if you're wondering what that is all about, you have to flip over to page 4 of the Nigerian Tribune to find out. Now, of course, the accident that happened with Anthony Joshua's driver, he's in custody, and that's from the Ogun police. And that read you will find on page 29 of the Nigerian Tribune. All right, now please go out and get yourself a copy to be well abreast with the issues making round on the Nigerian Tribune. And up next is the next paper. Mr. Uyi, over to you.
All right, so take a look at this day newspaper now. From the headline above the nameplate, it says, Netanyahu, Israel working on agenda to support persecuted Christians in Nigeria. So we're still on this conversation.
Yes, we are.
Well, it says, the story continues on page 9, so you can read it up for yourself. National Assembly directs release of signed tax bills to quell gazetting controversy. It's the brilliant thing to do. I thought we should have done this even before now.
True.
Read it up on page 10. Okay. Then let's go look at one more for you, the very last one. Says federal government unveils 2026 economic growth agenda set to prioritize jobs, investments, with details on page 6. Please read up those details from all the headlines from the paper. That's this day today. All right. So we move now to the Nation newspaper.
All right, now the Nation newspaper that is up next, and it says here, above the nameplate, the First Bank successfully completes 500 billion naira capital raise. And we have two riders there. Tinubu's deep understanding of the Nigerian economy shows in recent growth. And of course, we've read that before, says Otedola. And then canvasses CBN to raise bank capital to 1 trillion naira. Cardoso best CBN governor ever. Do we agree with that? No comment.
Wow.
So far, so good, though. So far, so good. Now, of course, the star story on page 2, as this concerns each and every one of us, so we should go out and get the Nation and read it to be well abreast with. That says, lawmakers unveil tax laws. And we need to be abreast with this to know what this is all about.
Right.
It's on page 2 of the Nation, so go out and get yourself a copy and be well abreast with the issues making round. Now, up next, we have the Daily Sun. Over to you.
Well, thank you, Chumai. Again, the First Bank capital raise story is more like a syndicated piece.
Yes, it is.
This morning, it says First Bank successfully completes 500 billion naira capital raise. 3 writers accompanying it, even on the Daily Sun today. Tinubu's deep understanding of Nigerian economy shows in recent growth. Otedola canvasses CBN to raise bank's capital to 1 trillion naira. Cardoso, best CBN governor ever. Wow. Again, that's a replication. PDP's bleeding continues as Plateau governor joins APC. The writer tells us, forget 2027, stakeholders tell Tinubu. River Park Estates, AGF directs termination of charge against Ghanaian investors, Sam Jonah, and 4 others. So that looks like some closure has been brought to the matter now. You would read up details, especially for those of you who have stake in these projects, on page 25. Next port of call is the Daily Trust, and Juma has those headlines for us.
All right, on the Daily Trust, we have below the nameplate on page 4, it says, alleged terror financing, Bala Wike trade words, and you will find that on page 4. And on page 5, it says, New Year, governors raise citizens' hope. And on page 26, 128 journalists killed in 2025. Really sad there. And the Star Story says, APC states near 30. That's on page 3 of the Daily Trust. Please go out and get yourself a copy and be well abreast with these issues making rounds. Next is the Punch, and you'll be giving us some very punchy headlines.
Sure thing. All right, let's look at the headline. I just sent the nameplate. First of all, it says here, well, let's look at the one just, the Star Story we should start from. Banks' bad loans spike after CBN withdraws forbearance. I just want to write it with it. Says CBN warns banks as non-performing loans overshoots prudential limits after regulatory support pulled back. What more do we have here? Remi Tinubu, governor's wives welcome New Year babies. That has been the tradition for many, many years. It always looks very beautiful to see those pictures, the smiles on the face of mothers and their babies, families who love them. All right, in the bigger picture here, you see within the frame, the First Lady, Senator Oluremi Tinubu with a baby there, and just playing with that beautiful child. You find Minister of State for the FCT as well, right there, Dr. Mahmoud, and a couple of other ladies who have accompanied Nigeria's First Lady on these engagements. Right, Wike Bauchi governor lock horns over terrorism financing claims. This is not something we should play with. You know, a particular commissioner in the cabinet of Governor Bala Muhammad of Bauchi State has now been accused of, allegations have been leveled against him with regards to embezzlement or misappropriation of funds and terror financing. But now it has become more like an item of political, tussle between Nyesom Wike and the governor of Bauchi State. But again, this is how we downplay security matters. And the next thing it becomes a political issue between Mr. Wike and Mr. Mohammed. And then we forget that the real issue is about human beings, those who have died, those who have lost loved ones, the communities that they served and belonged to, those who were breadwinners, and how this just deepens the problem of insecurity in our dear nation.
And you see, we shouldn't downplay this. It's a very serious issue. Like I always say, no one is above the law. An example has to be set. And if these individuals if their allegations surrounding, they should be investigated. Like you said, it's not all about whether you're APC, PDP. That has nothing to do with human lives. Individuals who have lost their life. Without these individuals, you will not be in the seat of power. If there was no one to vote you into...
Or anyone to lead.
Or anyone to lead. Really? Is that what we're going to be talking about? This is a very serious issue. We shouldn't downplay it. It should not be swept under the rug. There should be thorough investigation. It's very important, really.
All right, let's bring you two more headlines from the Punch newspaper before we wrap it up here. Bandits launch New Year Eve attacks in Plateau, Ondo, and Kwara. Those are 3 states on record for the wrong reasons. This morning on the Punch newspaper, details on page 26. Right. Bodija, 30 billion naira federal government funds still untouched. Makinde tells Fayoshe. So it looks like technically Governor Makinde of Oyo State is now accountant to former governor of Ekiti State. But is that what it should be? If Fayoshe had not spiked this conversation, would the governor of Oyo State have had time, found the reason to explain all this to the people of the state? Because those are the people he serves, not a political opponent as it stands right now. Well, let's move away from that and read up details on page 10 of the Punch newspaper today. Our last port of call is the Blueprint newspaper, and Juma Manson will do us the honors.
All right, now on the Blueprint above the nameplate, it says FG's 30 billion Bodija's explosion relief fund still intact, and that's from the Oyo government. And below the nameplate of the Blueprint, it says Akpabio withdraws all defamation suits.
All.
I had to put that so you can hear as this is your job.
I heard you loud and clear.
Don't forget. All defamation suits after priest's sermon. Okay. All right. And that you will find that interesting read on page 18. Now, Naira ends 2025 at 1,429 Naira per dollar, first annual gain after 13 years. And that you will find on page 26. Now, AFCON, Super Eagles in closed-door training for Mozambique. And that's on page 32. Now, major events that shape 2025. And it says, the writer here, Rivers state of emergency, mass defections, Niger school children abduction, Unity schools closure, tax reform bills. And we have faces on the Blueprint newspaper. We have our dear President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, and of course, our former president, who is late now, President Muhammadu Buhari. We have here the Minister of Defense. We have General Christopher Musa here. We have Minister of Education, Tunji Alausa. We have here the Governor Babagana Zulum. We have Governor of Rivers State, Similai Fubara. We have here also, we have education, we have Edun, and we have, yes, of course, Wale Edun, and of course we have here Anthony Joshua. So we're wondering, okay, maybe incidents that surrounded them, incidents that happened around them. And here it says here, Tinubu's tough decisions, pressure and weight reforms. And below all of that, it says Senator Awashiki dies in India at 52. Barao mourns. Sad news there. And it says NAS makes copies of gazetted tax reform laws available to public. That was, like you said, this would have been done a long time ago. Long time ago.
They say better late than never.
Yeah, better late than never, though. And that's on page 10. And here on page 6, it says digital transition, MDAs go fully paperless. All right, for those that, would I call them analog? You have to go and get yourself abreast with what digitalization is all about. It has come to stay.
Right.
And here it says, Anthony Joshua discharged, driver faces persecution. And the writer says, bodies of friends to go home. Very sad there. People that came to rejoice in Nigeria, and then this is it. And Kwara now, in Kwara, it says, boy playing with banga ignites fire in 8-story buildings. I always say these, and that's on page 6, these fireworks, banga, known as banga, they're dangerous. They're really, really dangerous. The scare for me, but the thing is, I hope no one was hurt.
Right.
I hope individuals survived it, and
they could salvage as much as possible.
Salvage as much as possible, but of course we know how it is. We do not have. Do we have an active fire service that is on standby at that time? And individuals have gone to church in their minds. Nothing is going to happen. Let's go chill.
And then the worst happens.
And then the worst happens. So what do you say about that? All right, basically that is all on the Blueprint newspaper. Please go out and get yourself a copy and be well abreast with issues making round. And of course, Global Television has no editorial judgment whatsoever on these newspaper reviews that we and I just read out. They're basically what was imprinted on the papers, and it was read as it is. Do not go anywhere. Global Morning continues shortly. Stay tuned.
Global Morning is your top morning show here on Global Television.
We bring you fresh news updates daily while delving into a variety of current affairs and topics.
And at the same time, keeping you well informed about important events, both national and internationals.
Global Morning serves as a valuable source of information, helping viewers like you start your day well informed.
Stay connected from Monday through Sunday to a wide range of latest news making rounds on Global Morning.
We're on the road to protest.
The president meets all of our demands.